Paper-mache, yay! All right, guys, today I'm going to be teaching you how to make a paper-mache cupcake or muffin if you prefer a muffin. I had a student tell me, ooh, I love blueberry muffins, so that works too. Now, for this project, you will need a cup. We like to use little disposable cups, so this size will give you a medium-sized cupcake. Not a jumbo one, not a mini. You need masking tape, some spare newspaper, and your paper-mache pulp. We'll talk about how to mix this in a minute. I have here some examples of other paper-mache projects that I've done with my students. I have done before a paper-mache donut. To get started, you will definitely need your cup and two medium pieces of newspaper. You are going to make your first piece smaller by crunching it up and stuffing it inside of your cup. Make sure that you compress it. It's not sticking out. There we go. This will create weight for the bottom of your cupcake so it doesn't tip over. Okay, the next one, you are going to crunch it up again, make a ball, newspaper ball. And this time, you will wrap it with a smaller sheet. I like to use these industrial paper towels. They're just from my classroom, from the paper towel dispenser. But if you don't have this, you can always use a smaller square piece of paper. And what I like to do is wrap this. So we're wrapping it like a little sandwich. Wrapping it. And now the newspaper is all united by this cover on it. Okay, on the bottom, you want to get some masking tape. This masking tape shouldn't be hard to cut. Just with your nails, you just kind of rip it. So about medium size. And we are basically just uniting the paper so it stays in a little paper ball. Okay, be careful with the masking tape. And please, I highly recommend masking tape, not Scotch tape. Scotch tape is like the see-through plastic one. The paper-mache does not stick to that tape. Now, this paper ball, we are going to connect it here. Well, if you just leave it like that, it's gonna float off, right? So what you need to do, make sure that you have about 2 or 3 pieces of tape at least. Ready? 1, 2, 3. If you're sharing the tape, pass it forward. Okay, so you want to put this on top of your base, right, where it's gonna go. Hold it down with one hand and tape it down with the other. Make sure you press hard on that tape so it stays down. Some kids barely press on that tape, and then when they tell me I'm ready, it's all wobbly. That's because the tape is not secured to the newspaper or to the cup. So 3 is good. I would keep going with a few more, maybe 3 more. And you do not have to cover every single opening here. It helps, definitely, yes. If you have smaller pieces, you can go ahead and try to cover that little gap, but you do not have to. That's what I'm trying to tell you, so that you don't have to use up all the tape. So here is my base for my cupcake. Okay, so it comes in a powder form, and we put it in a container. It's just basically really well grinded paper, and then they add some like powder glue. And so it all comes pre-mixed, and you just add warm water to it. You mix it, make sure that it's like a medium dough consistency. And then you are ready to get started. So this is going to feel a little like dough, okay? A little bit softer than Play-Doh. Okay, so then you get some paper-mache pulp, that's what this is called, and you're going to gently press. Okay, gently press, And then some kids, they like barely like to touch it, so it ends up looking all like fuzzy and hairy like that. You want to smooth it gently. And if this requires patience, okay, because it's not just a whole area, you go in sections. So I'm getting more and adding it and connecting it to the other part. Keep going until you have covered the whole top. Make sure it's a medium thickness of a surface. You don't want it too thin where you can see tape. You want to cover up all the tape up until this line right here of your cup. Okay, you can go a little bit past the cup, but you do not need to cover the cup. That is going to be covered with a pretty paper in the end, sort of like to make it look like the cupcake wrapper. Just keep going. Notice how I'm pressing smoothly. Okay, if you have any gaps, you want to get a little more and fill those in. Okay, don't turn in your cupcake until you have covered it nice and smoothly and evenly. Okay, I'm just using my fingers. If it's too watery, you will need to add a little more powder. If it's too thick, if it's not blending, then maybe you need just a little more water. This is what it should look like. Okay, stay tuned. Part 2 will be how to paint your cupcake, how to decorate it, what flavors, what decoration will you have on top, maybe a little cherry, and then the wrapper here, what color it's going to be, and who is going to get your beautiful creation. After you finish making your beautiful cupcake, mine is dry. It dried overnight and now it's rock solid. We are ready to paint. Depending on the flavor of your cupcake will determine the color that you choose to paint your cupcake. I will be making this one a chocolate cupcake, and this one I'm going to make just a muffin. I had a student that told me he really likes blueberry muffins, so we're gonna do this a tan color for the muffin, and then after it's dry, you can add little bits of sprinkles with blue to make it appear like blueberries. So here I just have regular tempera paint. For chocolate, I like to mix a little bit of black into the brown so that you have a nice, rich chocolate brown. You have to mix it yourself so that the regular brown looks more like a milk chocolate. It's all depending on what you prefer. You do not have to paint the cup because the paint does not stick to plastic. That's why we use the paper-mache pulp. Now, some kids or people, they like to leave the top white. If you are going to be painting your frosting instead of pouring it with another type of art supply or paint, then you can leave that area white. Some kids, they paint super fast. They do this. And then you get all this white in here and tell me, I'm done. No, let it dry a little bit and then kind of rotate it and oh, maybe I need to get in there. So you kind of push the brush bristles of your paintbrush into the, so that's kind of like pushing the paint into the paper-mache pulp. So I'm gonna let this guy dry, and if I see any white little areas pop up, maybe like there was a little air bubble and then I get a white area, then I'll go back and touch it up a little more before I call it finished. For my muffin, I just have here some tan paint, and this is just brown with some white, just regular tempera paint. I have a clean brush, and same thing, if this muffin has frosting on it, I'm going to just kind of make a wavy line where the frosting is going to stop. Okay. Rotate. Notice how I have a good handle of the base of the cupcake so it won't fly away or fall into the paint. Frosting part. This is one of the most exciting parts about this cupcake. Here I have a mixture of shaving cream. The recipe reads for half shaving cream, half liquid glue. We used Elmer's. And then for the color, you can use tempera paint, watered down tempera paint, or food coloring. So here, I'm gonna show you two ways, the way you can do this frosting. Now, I love to bake and decorate cupcakes, and I made a Lego fondant cake for one of my son's birthday one year. That was a challenge, but it was fun. Just like a regular baker, we are going to squeeze it and twist. And then with the scissors, you are going to cut the little tip. Oh, see? It's sprouting out. To squeeze it and gently start filling the top of the frosting area on this muffin, and I'm gonna twirl it. Notice how it's starting to kind of melt, and that's gravity pulling on the glue. Okay, and now I'm going to start filling here the areas that are missing. And voila! You kind of just leave it and let it dry. Let me show you another way.
Yes!
You can also dip your cupcake into the frosting. You just kind of go. Am I putting it all the way in?
No.
No. And then you kind of let the frosting drip like the excess. Oh, look at how cute. Okay, and this is pretty even. Okay, so this will give you an even edge versus the melted frosting. And here we are with our finished project. This is my blueberry muffin, and we waited for the frosting to dry. I made these little blueberries with Model Magic. You just get a little bit of Model Magic, and I added the color by rubbing some marker on the Model Magic, and then you knead that Model Magic until it turns the color that you want. I had to go over it several times to get that shade of a blueberry. Let those dry and then hot glue them on there. This is also hot glued. The base to my paper cupcake is just a regular bulletin board trim, like a border. You can also use a fancy cupcake container or like a cupcake paper. Those are really pretty too. Just be careful when you are gluing it to your base. And here I have my chocolate cupcake, and I put pink to go with my little garnish on top, my cherry. That is the paper-mache cherry. You could also make the cherry or strawberry with the Model Magic. Okay, have fun.